let's talk about sex. Look around you. Say hi to the person on your right, say hi to the person on your left. Probability says that one of these two people will have danced the horizontal tango before getting their diploma, banged before graduation, or done the nasty while still in school. Many of you are thoroughly disturbed. Some of you are kind of confused, and the rest of you are wondering where the problem lies. Well, glad you asked. The problem is that within the United States, we have one of the highest STI transmissions and one of the highest teen pregnancy rates of any developed nations. And I blame our education system. For example, Utah legislation stipulates that public educators may not instruct on the intricacies of intercourse, direction or encouragement on any contraceptive method, and may not condone sexual activity outside of marriage. While two of these regulations are perfectly reasonable and make perfect sense, the third is willfully ignorant and devastatingly problematic. We cannot just ignore the facts. Whether or not we want them to, teens are gonna have sex. And by refusing to educate them on safe sex practices, we just make the inevitable more and more risky. So the responsibility falls to the parents and future parents of these teens. Many argue that the home is the rightful place to conduct this education anyway, so why is this a big problem? Well, the fact is, 85% of children do not get proper comprehensive sex education at home. That's 85% of kids that we're sending out there to have sex and do all the adult things that don't know how to do it safely, or at least have never been taught by parents or educators. And that, combined with the failure of our education system, is dooming our teens to the higher rates of teen pregnancy and the higher likelihood of getting a whole host of transmittable diseases. But almost all of this is preventable. So why aren't we doing anything? Well, the simple fact is, sex is scary. Sex is hard to talk about. I mean, imagine when you were getting the birds and the bees talk with your parents. You're probably avoiding eye contact. Neither of you are really speaking to each other. It's like you're speaking at a wall. They're speaking at a wall. Neither of you wants to be there. It's usually very short, not at all comprehensive, and it's like when two parents love each other very much, babies exist. And then that's about the gist of it. Because it's hard to talk about sex. Sex is such a taboo topic for everybody. I'm sure so many of you are uncomfortable. But the thing is this is one of the major problems in the United States that we need to break down in order to lower these STI transmissions and teen pregnancies. So what are we to do about this? What can we do as peers, parents, and teachers to help reduce these risks? We can do 5 simple things. First is to educate yourself. You need to know what you're talking about in order to teach someone else. You need to know about contraceptive methods. You need to know about the risks. You need to know for example, what lubes work with what condoms, and if you're not using condoms, when you should not be doing that, and all of the other things like that. You need to be educated in order to educate everyone else. Second, most of the time, you have to begin the conversation. Most teens are not going to open up to random people about their sex lives. Most teens are not going to open up to parents, least of all, about their sex lives. Because guess what? That's awkward. We've already established this. Talking about sex is awkward. Third, we need to provide resources. Real resources that they can go to. Whether that is us or other educated people like their teachers and other things like that. And these resources also need to include contraceptives. We need to offer condoms. We need to allow them to speak to their doctors about these things. We need to provide them with those opportunities, because the fact is, teens are going to have sex whether or not we want them to. Third is to respect their agency. Stress your beliefs. That's 100% fine. Stress your beliefs. Stress the fact that you think they should wait till marriage to have sex. Stress the fact that all of these risks come along with having sex before you are in a committed relationship. Stress your own beliefs, but you must respect their agency, because if you do not respect a teen's agency, they close off to you and they don't communicate with you. And the lack of communication is really the main problem here. Fifth, keep the dialogue open. If they ask you questions, answer them. Answer them in age-appropriate ways. Keep talking about this. Don't make every conversation about sex, but be willing to have these conversations. Talk about a study you read. Talk about something. You need to have this open dialogue in order to reduce these risks. So yes, it may be a little bit awkward to explain sex to your kids, or ask your friends if they're using condoms while having sex. But the thing is these are minor inconveniences compared to the other things that may happen if we aren't willing to have this conversation. We could save someone from getting genital herpes, HIV or AIDS, and we may save someone from getting pregnant as a teen, which can ruin that teen's life. And so while it may be slightly inconvenient, let's talk about sex. Let's make an effort to talk about sex in healthy, constructive ways. Thank you for watching.